Hello and welcome to Grand Prix Toronto. I'm Randy Buehler, joined by Jake Van Lunen, and you can see in the background Chris Fennell versus Paul Rietzl. Not good enough to get featured this round. Off on the left, you can't quite see Craig Wesco playing for top 8 with a crazy Green-White Collective Company deck. Not good enough to lead off. We're going to start instead with Hall of Famer Ben Stark, who it says Mardu Midrange on there. I think a better name for this deck, and the name Ben's using, this is Mardu Dragons.
Yeah, he's playing 10 Dragons. 1 in 6 cards that he draws is a Dragon.
4 Thunder Breaks, 4 Storm Breath, and a couple Kolagons. You know, I was saying a couple rounds ago, I think when we were covering Brad, that Storm Breath Dragon, nobody can kill a Storm Breath Dragon in this field. Everyone is maxed out on Abzan charms. There's all these Abzan aggro decks, Abzan midrange, Abzan megamorph. They're all max Abzan charms.
Yeah,
they can't kill a pro-white creature.
Nowhere to be found these days.
No, and even the Hero's Downfalls, people are cheating down to just a couple of Hero's Downfalls. Meanwhile, Crackling Doom is great in this field. There's a lot of Esper Dragons running around. Ben is on not just Crackling Doom, but also Foul Tongue Invocation. So all those people are like, why does nobody play Mardu? Ben's playing Mardu. All those people are like, where are the Storm Breath Dragons? Well, Ben's playing Storm Breath Dragons. Anyway, finds himself at 11-2. He needs to win 2 rounds to make top 8. But got paired against Brad Nelson, the man. I know we've had on camera a lot, and like I feel like if Brad had been paired against anybody of, you know, any lower than Hall of Fame caliber resume, we probably wouldn't have put him on camera again. But we haven't gotten to see Ben or this awesome deck, so here we are. Anafenza attacking through a couple Seekers. I would ask you how this matchup goes, but I can't imagine you have a lot of experience.
Yeah,
with
I have
Mardu
no experience.
Dragons,
I imagine Mardu Dragons. Mardu Dragons just seems very well positioned in general against Abzan.
No, it totally
I feel
does.
like it's just a slugfest, but I mean, it's one of the few decks where, you know, tapping out for an Ojutai is just a nightmare.
Yeah, Secret attack straight into Rakshasa. That plane's not doing Brad any flavors there. And yeah, Thunderbreak Regent, so 4/4 and flying, and if you target it, you take damage. It's pretty solid. I would think Storm Breath is the best dragon in this matchup for sure.
Absolutely. And Storm Breath works quite nicely with the Regent, because even if Brad is able to find a downfall to deal with the Storm Breath Dragon, then he's still taking extra damage to do so.
It's funny, I know Brad was disappointed to pick up his second loss last round. I mean, obviously it's always disappointed to lose, but getting into the 11-2 bracket at this tournament, there's just a murderer's row of Platinum Pros and Hall of Famers sitting in the 11-2 bracket. Okay, so here's Dromoka's Command. Death Dealer picks up a counter and fights a Seeker of the Way. The X2s at this point include Brad Nelson, you know, Lucas Cial, Paul Rietzl, Hall of Famer, Ben Stark, Hall of Famer, Neil Oliver, Chris Fennell. I mean, Ari Lax was in that group until last round. He lost to get knocked out of top 8 contention. Mark Herberholz also lost to fall out of top 8 contention. But.
Interesting play there the last turn, choosing to use Dromoka's Command to deal with the Seeker of the Way and to grow the Rakshasa Death Dealer, as opposed to using Anafenza to kill Thunderbreak Regent.
Yeah, he wants a 3/3 Death Dealer so he can attack into this Thunderbreak now. He'd rather have Ben, you know, trade Anafenza for Thunderbreak if that's what Ben wants to do, or he'll be able to attack for 7 and follow up with a Thoughtseize. Foul Tongue, wow. How good would Foul Tongue Invocation have been there? Kill one of your creatures and gain 4 life?
Especially with those 2 creatures on the board. And now Ben just has a Thoughtseize that he can't cast, so. Brad definitely winning this race as of right now.
Yeah, you can tell from that grimace that Ben realizes it. And Ben's
That's just Ben thinking.
Yeah, no, he's certainly fairly dramatic with his facial expressions.
And now, I mean, Ben's pretty much on champ playing duty, depending on what he drew. But he'll at least get to trade with the Anafenza here, but he's gonna need some sort of answer. Brad really showing us just, you know, how powerful this deck is. Ben didn't have black mana in this game. It would have been a much different game had he been able to
actually cast the Foul Tongue. Sure.
Get rid of that Anafenza. It's gotten in a few times now.
Well, Dragon attacks. Oh, Brad's still got more. Still got more. Does take the 3 damage, but that's better than taking 4.
Yeah.
This Abzan aggro deck, it just doesn't seem to care about how good or bad the matchup is.
Yeah, it's
What did he lose to last round?
Abzan, Megamorph.
Oh, the Megamorph deck. Yeah, that seems like a really bad
matchup.
Wow, so we watched that match on camera twice with Abzan aggro losing it both times. I guess Brad lost it as well. Jeez, Wingmate Rock with a raid trigger. Yeah, Ben is scooping him up. Brad Nelson up a game against the Hall of Famer with the cool new deck.
And looking at Brad's sideboard, he does have 3 copies of Ultimate Price, so he's pretty well prepared for this Stormbreath Thunderbreak Regent
Looks like
post-boarded games.
Can we get an update on Rietzel and Fennell from the back table? Looks like they're also shuffling up for game 2, and I don't know if we can get word from our spotter on who actually won that game. They're both of these matches are, you can see smiling while sideboarding.
Yeah.
Body language says Fennell won. I'm pretty sure I agree with you.
Yeah. Fennell wears his heart on his sleeve.
That looks like a man who's up a game. No question about it. He's not up a game? Or you're not sure? Paul won game 1.
Paul won. Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, body language read was wrong. All right, Paul Rietzel up a game. Now, both of these matches are elimination matches from a top 8 point of view. And, I mean, all 4 of these players are here to make top 8. None of these guys are, a couple pro points. I mean, Brad wouldn't mind a couple of pro points. It would certainly help him in his quest to make Worlds. He actually somehow still has a 0 amongst his top 6 Grand Prix finishes this season, which really surprised me when I saw it.
Yeah,
but
he hasn't gone to many events this year.
Exactly. He actually hasn't traveled all that much over the course of the season.
The thing is
dating
that
back
when
to last
he
summer.
has showed up,
he wins.
Performed
or he makes top 8.
Yeah, he's performed so well that it seems like, oh, well, he must be at everything, because when you tune in, like,
he's always
so
there,
frequent that he's at the top tables. But it turns out those are the only events that he's at.
His Grand Prix finishes are a top 8, another top 8, an 11-3, another 11-3. So his points are like 4-4-3-3, 0-0. Anyway, all the points help him for Worlds. He is just above the bubble. We've said that a couple of times. Tied with Paul Rietzel, who also has 0s. And, I said these guys are here for top 8s. Those two wouldn't mind at 12-3. 3 pro points toward Worlds would feel pretty good, getting maybe a little distance above the bubble. But, I mean, Craig Wescoe is also on that Worlds bubble, playing on the back table. I want to talk a little bit about the decks that are doing well. So, we talked about it at the beginning of day 2. The day 2 field here, Abzan aggro. It was Abzan aggro, Esper Dragons. Here, I've got the whole thing. It's Abzan aggro, 15%, Esper Dragons, 15%, Atarka Red, 13.5%, and then a big gap down to Bant Megamorph. It's 6.5% with 12 copies. So we went down the top tables. Everybody who was on X2 or better coming into last round. So that's 38 players. Top 14 tables with 3 rounds to go. Guess what the most played deck is amongst those 38 players?
Abzan aggro?
Bant Megamorph.
Ooh.
Right?
That's pretty good against Abzan aggro.
Fourth most played deck, all the way down at 6.5% of the field. There were 12 copies on day 2. 7 copies still in top 8 contention with 3 rounds to go. It is 18.
The deck to play this weekend.
18.4% of the field at the top tables with 3 rounds to go.
Wow.
Bant Megamorph. I mean, of the big archetypes, clearly the right call for this field.
Or perhaps the right call for the field was Craig Wescoe's Green-White Collective.
Now, I was going to say, there's some one-ofs, like there's 2 of this Mardu Dragon deck, there's 2 Collective Company decks, they're now up to 5% of the field, from wherever they were. I think that might be both of the Green-White Collective Companies. So yeah, 2 of the day 2 decks were still in contention. We could argue about which of those is the more impressive feat. I honestly don't know. Ask me when we see whether they make top 8 and win the tournament. But yeah, Bant Megamorph is the most played deck at 18.4. Esper Dragons has held its percentage. It's 15.8%. So it's basically held where it was coming into the day. Abzan aggro has almost held. It's at 5 copies at 13%. And Atarka Red is sort of down to 4 copies and 10%. The Megamorph decks, though, have done really well. And then some of these random one-ofs, like the 2 Green-White Collective Company decks, that was Ari Lax and Craig Wescoe. Wescoe actually has a loss to give. He's playing for top 8 this round. Ari Lax was eliminated last round, though. And then, yeah, here you get the Mardu Dragons deck. I think there's 2 copies, and they're in contention. I wonder how many there were at the beginning of the day. Was that also a 2 of? No, I think there were a few more than that. Yeah, there were 6 Mardu mid-ranges, so, 3% up to 5% now. Anyway, lots going on, including a Brad Nelson mulligan. Very quick one.
And it's going to be important, like, to play your early turns in a matchup like this, because the thing is, okay, Ben on turn 2 can play 2/2s. Brad can play 3/3s. Ben on turn 3, you know, is playing removal spells, whereas Brad is trying to play 4/4s. If Brad can really curve out, then his deck is playing more powerful cards than Ben's. Sure, Ben's match up better against Dragonlord Ojutai. Ben's cards are just well positioned in general for this tournament. He has Stormbreath Dragons on the top end. But in those crucial turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 areas,
Yep.
you know, Ben's casting Thunderbreak Regent, Brad's casting Siege Rhino. Siege Rhino wins that race. First he is on the draw.
See if
so-
Brad likes D6. Keeps him. Citadel? Or Nomad Outpost, sorry.
And not a thrilling hand
Temple.
for Brad. It looks like he has Den Protector and Siege Rhino with
Turn
lands.
2 Seeker
but
again. Ben actually has all 3 of his colors. That's an upgrade from last game. So we'll see how many colored mana he has.
Yeah.
Wow, no third land for Ben Stark.
Yeah.
And Brad goes straight to Anafenza. Uh-oh, that is not good news for Marty Dragons. Okay, Temple off the
Not at all.
top, but he pushes and still has no play.
And I guess, I mean, here comes a Rhino. But not before we
And
attack with our
Anafenza
Anafenza.
chunks Ben down to 16.
Oh, it seems that Brad only has a temple here.
Welcome to your round. You have 50 minutes. You
One
may
more.
play.
Coming to play tap land was kind of brutal for Ben, unable to play something that turn.
All right, Valtongue Invocation, revealing Thunderbreak Regent. So, a force Brad to sack a creature and gain 4 life, and Seeker triggers Prowess. Presumably, this is mid-combat, so that he's
Yeah.
getting 3 more life from the Seeker.
He's going to jump all the way to 23 then, I
That's
believe.
7 life,
Yeah.
and kill a creature. Brad chose to sack the Anafenza, not the Morph.
Yeah, I mean, the value of having a Dead Protector there, being able to untap with it. He can just rebuy that Anafenza. If he has something like Ultimate Price in his hand, then he can get a lot of very strong value off of it.
Then contemplating a temple. He missed turn 3 land drop, but he's hit land on each of the next 2 turns at least. So he gets to play.
With the 4 lands there in play, we know that he has Thunderbreak Regent in play, so at the very least, like, that's going to be his play on the following turn.
Right, but Brad's got Siege Rhino ready. He's got Den Protector ready. Yeah, this turn's a Rhino. Brad, I think I saw Hero's Downfall in his hand too, so like a 5th land, which he has coming into play tapped. Next turn he can go Hero's Downfall and Den Protector.
It's pretty nice.
Update from the other Grand Prix this weekend. Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa is going to make top 8 in Sao Paulo this weekend. Esper Dragons,
Defending his home turf.
defending the home turf, and I mean, quite the run for Paulo.
Yeah.
From the Pro Tour into Krakow into Sao Paulo.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody who kind of, you know, faded into obscurity a little bit and went
A little
from
bit.
being...
I mean, he
you
was
know,
around, but he wasn't winning.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Crackling Doom to kill the Siege Rhino and trigger the Prowess on Seeker, bonking for -3 to Brad, +3 to Ben. Pretty solid.
Yeah, Paulo used to be clearly the best player, and then it,
Yeah, I mean, he's in my top 5 all time.
as he should be, he, there's a lot of Pro Tour top 8s.
All right, Den Protector picks up the Siege Rhino. That doesn't seem fair somehow. Brad passes the 3 mana untapped, that I think we know is Hero's Downfall.
Absolutely. So even if Ben tries to get another Prowess trigger off the Seeker, then Brad will just be happy to fire off the removal spell. But if Ben decides to go a little bigger with the Dragon, then Brad can get a little more value out of it.
This is last call. Register for the 2 tournament
And
plan.
despite a mulligan, Brad fought his way right back in with Den Protector.
Definitely.
Start that at 2 p.m.
Oh, here's Draconic Roar, revealing Thunderbreak Regent. Paulo, by the way, with that top 8, moves into a world spot. He takes one of the Latin America spots. Bumping Willie Adel.
Willie Adel not making it.
Well, Tiago Saporito is got the lead right now by I think 2 points over those guys.
Okay.
Over Willie. Yeah, Saporito 39, Edel 37, and Paulo is at 39 plus whatever he wins in the top 8. So yeah, Adel 2 points behind Saporito and Paulo. With Paulo obviously still got some. So he
can
pick up some
right
more
ahead.
wins. Yeah, Hero's Downfall took down the Seeker. We were expecting that. Soren is now the play from Brad Nelson. We also know he's got a Rhino in his hand. Foul Tongue Invocation. Revealing Thunderbreak Regent. Ben's... How much life has he gained this game? It feels like...
I guess multiple attacks with Seeker were 3 where he's gaining it. So
and multiple Foul Tongue Invocations.
So 14, he's gained 14
at
life
least.
this game.
I feel like Draconic Roar also triggered Seeker, but I guess that was the turn it died. Wow, and now here's Kolaghan to kill Soren. Get to the Dragons portion of the deck. There's still a Thunderbreak Regent in his hand, but dashes out the Kolaghan to kill Soren.
And Brad, despite being in the driver's seat this whole time, all this incidental damage, you know, Draconic Roar, Crackling Doom,
yeah, he's down to 10.
He's at 10 already. He doesn't even have any lands that have dealt him any damage. And he's been casting Siege Rhinos. You know who loves incidental damage like nobody else?
Who's that?
Sam Black. It's his favorite thing in the world.
Ben Stark's teammate on Team Ultra Pro. Soulfire Grandmaster joins the Thunderbreak Regent. Soulfire Grandmaster buying back some of these spells. Could get exciting. I'm enjoying Ben's deck. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this match out or make this top 8, but this deck looks sweet.
Yeah, Brad, I still feel like he's in a pretty good position here. He has a lot more cards in hand. He has more lands. He's not too far behind on the board. Then again, letting Ben untap with Soulfire Grandmaster
right
does not bode well for Brad.
Morph. These Den Protect, these are in from the board, right? Brad has them Den Protector as a sideboard card? You're telling me he just values the ability to regrow sideboard cards?
Yeah, I think after having played through the tournament, he believes they probably should have been in this main deck.
Got it. That makes sense.
You don't really need that good.
Yeah, they look so good everywhere else. I'm like, why are they only in the sideboard?
He was at a wedding all last week, then he moved into a new house, you know.
Fair enough.
Hasn't had as much testing time as he's used to coming into one of these standard events. Which meant that he only started 10-0.
Right. So that's 2 of the last 3, I guess.
Yeah. Great. Both the Megamorph decks, though.
Yeah.
Which... he's not been happy with his Deathmist Raptor matchups.
Yeah, Abzan Aggro felt great on day 1. Felt like one of these decks that it did really well against the day 1 metagame, but the way the day 2, what's happened with the day 2 metagame is that so much of the Abzan Aggro and the Esper Dragons that you're seeing, you know, Stormbreath Dragons rise to the top of the Swiss, and Megamorph decks rise to the top of the Swiss.
And it looks like he did pass the turn back with that Soulfire Grandmaster in play, which is surprising to me.
Does he have a way to kill it?
I think he does have a way to kill it.
All right, Grandmaster activates. So here we have Murderous Cut with the buyback. Delving 3 so that he can kill a Siege Rhino and return Murderous Cut to his hand.
And now, Brad's probably kicking himself for not using that ultimate price that's in his hand to deal with Soulfire Grandmaster. Would have also given him decent attack with that Siege Rhino.
Yeah, Siege Rhino down. The Dragon and the Grandmaster attack. Ben is okay with trading Grandmaster for what he pretty much knows is a Den Protector. Still a trade even after the Megamorph. Brad's choosing to get back the Siege Rhino. And Thunderbreak hits for 4.
And, now this isn't the worst spot for Brad. He's going to, stay at 9.
You keep saying that, and Ben keeps doing these awesome things. I don't know, I feel like it's gone from Brad on the front foot to Brad kind of even to Brad trying not to fall behind. And that's how I read the last 3 turns. Right, Thunderbreak's attacking. We know Ben has Kolaghan in his hand.
And Kolaghan represents a lot of damage.
Right.
We know about the ultimate price.
Alright, Thunderbreak attacks, ultimate price. Drops the dragon down. Brad takes 3, so he's at 9.
Ooh, what does he have as a
Now,
follow-up?
he's going to hard cast the Kolaghan. He's not dashing it out. He just wants it in play. And he's got Murderous Cut up.
So Ben, do you think he's just going to take this, or do you think I'll just Murderous Cut it? It seems hard to get a better target, but maybe you want to gain tempo. So, I mean, Siege Rhino, just
Siege Rhino's still good?
Rhino thing.
Siege Rhino is doing the Siege Rhino thing. Storm Breath.
Storm Breath Dragon to go with that Kolaghan, the Storm Fury. Both those dragons going to get +1/+0, and it's going to trigger the Kolaghan, the Storm Fury when it attacks. And
whenever a dragon attacks, creatures get +1/+0. So
that's 12 points of damage out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's 4
and that
power.
Was an exciting game because Ben just fighting from behind the whole time, just this instant all damage. Draconic Roar, Crackling Doom. You take some damage from killing my Thunderbreak region. There's all these little ticks of damage. They all added up, and suddenly Brad found himself with a pretty precarious life total. And when your life total is low and your opponent's deck is full of hasty dragons,
yeah, the pair of 4/4 dragons are able to attack for 12. Wow!
It was as if there was a third dragon.
It was the Storm's Fury.
Yeah, it was the Fury of the Storm.
Yeah, you were asking whether Ben was going to take that Siege Rhino, by the way. I don't know it was obvious what happened, but Ben blocked Kolaghan. Kolaghan's 4/5. So Kolaghan can block Siege Rhino. And, I mean, Ben obviously wouldn't be able to win with Kolaghan, but if Brad does a trick like an Obsun Charm or something, then he Murderous Cuts it. So that was the sequence there. It was Ben blocking, going, go for it. Because he knows he's got a Murderous Cut, but Brad also knows that he has a Murderous Cut, so Brad was never gonna pump that up, so the 4/5s just bonked into each other. Kolaghan survives, crunch.
And the Rhino's not going to do anything untapped anyway, so.
Right. Yeah, everybody seems like they played that correctly.
I think Brad misstepped a little bit earlier on.
Letting the Soulfire live?
Yeah, I'm surprised he let.
So he had to kill the dragons. There's a Kolaghan in dude's hand. If he doesn't save ultimate price for Thunderbreak, doesn't Kolaghan just come down and deal 12? Does it just dash down and 12 him?
It's reasonable. But then he doesn't attack with the Rhino either.
Well, so the turn is, Ben has Thunderbreak and Soulfire Grandmaster. This is the turn you're worried about.
Yeah,
Ben taps out for Thunderbreak plus Soulmaster. We know there's a Kolaghan in Ben's hand.
Yeah.
So if he ultimate prices the Soulfire Grandmaster, yeah, Ben doesn't get to spend his turn going Murderous Cut with the buyback.
Well,
instead, he dashes out Kolaghan.
No, but why doesn't Brad attack with the Siege Rhino?
I mean, I don't remember. So let's say he does. What does that accomplish? He's still dead to the 2 hasty. He's dead to the 2 dragons in the air. If he spends his mana on an ultimate price pointed at Soulfire Grandmaster, he dies to Thunderbreak plus Kolaghan. Brad was at 10 or 12 or so.
Is he that low already at that point? Yeah,
I think he was at 10 the whole time. Like, he kept doing Siege Rhinos to get back up to 12. I don't think he was at 13. Like, Kolaghan plus Thunderbreak is 12. I mean, we'd have to go back and look at it exactly, but I think if Brad ultimate prices, he's dead to Kolaghan. And so he kept the ultimate price to point at Thunderbreak.
And then you don't attack with the Rhino because of the Kolaghan also. Yeah, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, Ben's deck's got some sauce.
Yeah.
Some sauce and some spice and maybe some salt for his opponents. We'll see. Oh, now I want to. Can we get an update on that back table? Who won between Fennell and Rietzel? I saw them standing up and walking away from the table, but
Well, if Rietzel won game 1, then
they could have
have
played
gone
2
2
games
in
in
that
that time. You're right.
Paul won.
Paul won?
Yeah.
Wow. Team Ultra. How about Team Ultra Pro?
Yeah, I mean,
3 players still in contention here. Rietzel has now earned himself a win and in next round. Craig Lesko is playing a win and in right now, and Ben Stark is trying to earn a win and in.
I mean, that team has been putting up pretty ridiculous numbers.
They really have. They have 5 out of 6 into day 2 here at the Grand Prix. Each of the last 2 Pro Tours, they've had a top 4 competitor, 2 more in the top 16, and multiple other cash finishers.
And there aren't even that. There aren't
that many of them.
Yeah.
I mean, this last Pro Tour, they were about the same size, I think, as the Pantheon or CFP. Like, they were in double digits at the most recent Pro Tour, but not by much. And they weren't with, Justin Cohen finishing 2nd in Modern. Anyway, face up Den Protector from Brad Nelson joins Fleece Mane Lion on the attack.
Yeah, in game 1, Brad had a lot of success by simply winning the game quickly, and I think he wants to see if he can repeat that performance. But here Ben going to use a removal spell at instant speed when attacking the Seek other way.
Sure.
Take a chunk out of Brad's board, gain some life. You know, maybe gain additional life if it's tap Foul Tongue. We deal additional damage if it's Doom. It's Doom, which is especially strong here because it's going to make Brad sacrifice the Lion.
Wow.
So Ben's life total going to jump up a bit from that lifelink. Meanwhile, Brad already finding himself down to 14. Anafenza. Ooh, all right.
Break.
I hear Brad can definitely attack with both of his guys. I believe he has Absent Charm in hand.
All right. Get rid of your dragon. Yeah, I take 3. I understand. Den Protector picks up the counter from Anafenza, so that's 7 damage.
Yeah, also makes the Den Protector unblockable unless Ben is able to...
Barring a prowess trigger.
The prowess trigger. Next turn, Ben's going to need more than 1 prowess trigger to stop the Den Protector.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's another Thunderbreak. And, Seeker stays home.
Interesting.
And what is the Seeker's plan? Is he in chump block mode on Anafenza?
That's the only thing that really makes sense to me.
Does he think Brad's not going to attack?
Does Ben have... How many cards
What's
does
he
Ben
have,
have?
1 mana untapped? Yeah, all right. Brad turns him sideways.
Yeah.
That 1 mana is not threatening Murderous Cut because there's not enough cards to delve. So Den Protector's up to 4 power. Cannot be blocked by Seeker. Thunderbreak can trade with either of those according to the cards that are in play.
Yeah, Ben, there's going to be something blocked here. Otherwise, Ben just dies.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Seeker does need to chump block Anafenza. Wow. Yeah, Seeker neither attacks nor blocks. Feels like something must have gone wrong.
Yeah, generally not good when you leave a guy back and then your opponent attacks with everybody and it still doesn't block.
All right, so Thunderbreak trades for Den Protector. Anafenza's still there. Ben down to 4.
Brad's still on 3 lands. It's been working out fine for him thus far, but...
You're saying there's powerful 4 mana cards in his deck?
yes.
Ben draws a Temple.
And Ben,
He needs to kill Anafenza, trigger prowess on Seeker, and gain some life. That's what he needs to do. Saul at least really 2 lands in his hand, though.
playing here, Brad, on the following turn.
Round 14 with 1 round left at this Grand Prix. The winner gets to play for top 8 next round.
Whoever has to play against the winner of the Smash will not be thrilled.
Whoever has to play against Paul Rietzel will not be thrilled.
Yeah, X2 at this tournament is not a place you really want to be right now. I mean, you want to be there because you get to play a winner.
Right.
The people you're going to have to play against are all quite talented. Ben needs to find a way to survive. Currently at 4, facing down what could be 2 4-power creatures if both of them get to attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking like he doesn't have much.
Yeah, even jump blocking and offensive won't be enough. If Brad just flips Den Protector to get it to 3 power with the Megamorph ability, uses Anafenza to put a 4th counter on it, it deals the lethal 4 damage. Then cracks a fetch land.
That's going to put Ben down to 3.
AKA Siege Rhino range. We don't know if Brad has one, but we know that if he does, he has not yet had the chance to play it because he's been stuck on 3 lands. 6 mana.
Ooh, is Elspeth or something? Yeah.
It's Elspeth, which does trigger prowess on Seeker. So Ben's going to get an attack in while he can gain some life. Oh, yeah, I can see he had to tap Caves of Koilos. Wow, he had to tap double Caves of Koilos for that.
So he's just dead.
No, he's down to 1 and now he gains 4 life. Oh yeah, he is just dead, isn't he?
No,
Elspeth
he
makes 3 tokens.
life, right?
Elspeth makes 3 tokens.
Yeah, but Den Protector is unblockable. So
Elspeth
he
can
goes
kill
up to 4.
Anafenza?
He goes up to 4. Then
No, Elspeth kills Anafenza.
Oh, Elspeth kills Anafenza. Okay.
Yeah. So now Den Protector can drop him to 1. We'll deal with that guy next turn.
Yeah. Or he can draw on top lands and then win. Which he did not.
Does he have a Rhino in there?
He does have a Rhino.
He does have a Rhino, so any untapped land would have won the game for Brad Nelson here. As it is, he has to decide how he wants to spend his mana. He can spend his mana flipping Den Protector to drop Ben to 1 instead of 2, but that doesn't make a whole lot of difference, so maybe he's got other ways. Somebody has spilled a drink in the middle of our game. Wow. Down goes a can of soda. Timeout.
So, I mean, I think the play here is probably just going to be to flip up Den Protector, get back Windswept Heath.
Oh, Windswept Heath, yeah.
Play Windswept Heath, Ultimate Price Seeker of the Way, attack Elspeth, and then your opponent's at 4 with a ton of pain lands in play, and you have 4 lands and a Siege Rhino and a threat on the board.
How about that?
That would be my line.
You would kill Elspeth, not put Ben down to Siege Rhino range? Because that's the interesting part of that line.
I guess that is.
I like the idea of flipping Den Protector to get Windswept Heath. That makes a lot of sense to me. But then you have to decide whether to kill Elspeth or drop Ben to 1. And if he does, yeah, if he has Ultimate Price, which I'm pretty sure I also saw, I agree with killing Seeker for sure.
I'd be very surprised if he did not kill Seeker.
I mean, he can obviously wait, kill it as a response to Ben triggering prowess without understanding what's about to happen.
If he has an Absent Charm in his hand, he can just kill Ben.
Well, yeah. I
But I
deduce
don't
from
think
the amount of time Brad has spent thinking that he does not have an Abzan Charm in his hand. Or if he does, I'm going to guess our life totals are wrong.
Yeah. So, I imagine we're just going to see Den Protector for Heath. 4th land, very important at this stage of the game.
Attack you.
Okay.
Drops
Get
Ben to
behind
1, leaves Elspeth in play. Does get back the Windswept Teeth. Does crack it. It doesn't have to crack it yet.
Yeah, he's not really sure what's in Ben's deck exactly.
Sure.
He doesn't want to get
I
blown
would,
out.
yeah.
By, like,
who knows what's
you
in
know,
there?
What if you just end up like losing to God's Willing?
Exactly.
Or something?
Yeah, God's
It's-
Willing is exactly the card I was thinking about. Yeah, get Seeker off the board right now. Fine, I'm tapped out. You can have a turn. Brad's at 7. It's hard to imagine Ben can kill him from 7.
Might be possible.
Temple.
And I think what he really needs is
Ben doesn't even
Invocation.
have white mana. Yeah, Foul Tongue Invocation seems like a part of the solution. I mean, we know about the Siege Rhino, so we know Ben has to gain life, and Ben has to at least suspect Siege Rhino. Yeah, Foul Tongue Invocation is pretty good here.
Yeah, that's
that'll
the
make-
major argument for attacking Elspeth.
Attacking, I was about to say exactly the
Yeah.
same thing. That's Elspeth starts to become relevant if Ben has a Foul Tongue Invocation.
Then again, it's maybe unlikely that he has the dragon to go with it, even if he does have it. And
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he just goes for Thunderbreak Regent.
that's it.
Yeah, and there's the Siege Rhino from Brad Nelson. Ben Stark extends the hand, and Brad Nelson will be playing a win in for top 8. In
Yeah.
other news, fire is
It's
hot.
The sky is blue.
Wow. Cool deck from Ben Stark. Definitely going to be interested in taking that one for a spin on Magic Online.
I think that's also a sweet deck to try Dragonlord Kolagon, which is a card that I'm pretty surprised hasn't picked up any steam at all. Seems like it could be pretty good.
Meanwhile, Abzan Aggro versus Bant Megamorph. We've seen this matchup a couple times in the last couple rounds, and it has not been good for Abzan Aggro. You know why we've seen this matchup a couple of times in the last couple of rounds?
Because these are the two most represented decks.
They
with
are.
potential for top 8.
We actually updated our stats on the decks for the top 8. Bant Megamorph, 5 of the 23 players in contention are running Bant Megamorph. It's up to 22% of the relevant part of the field at this stage. Abzan Aggro down to 3 decks at 13%, where it's tied with Abzan Midrange and Esper Dragons.
Neil Oliver, winner of the largest Grand Prix ever
So far,
so far.
largest Grand Prix to date.
Yes, we know there are going to be larger Grand Prix, but we don't
Soon.
know if he's going to win them.
That is true. That is true. Okay. So he gets to hold that title until he fails to win Vegas,
Yes.
or runs it back. Maybe he'll wind up in the. What if he winds up in the half of the field that has like one less person? Because
Does it still count?
Grand Prix Vegas is going to split. There are going to be 2 Grand Prix in Vegas. Double the Pro Tour invites, double the prize money. Both the Grand Prix in Vegas and a couple coming up for Modern Masters weekend are closing. They're closing in on. They're not at 6,000 yet. I think they're in the like 5,500-ish in terms of the pre-regis so far.
I think they're still getting
Just
hundreds
crazy numbers.
every single day.
They're getting like 100 a day. If they continue to get 100 a day, they'll be like 8,500. And if it accelerates toward the end, they could actually hit the cap of 10,000. Like at 100 a day, it's like, well, if it accelerates,
10,000 people is,
8,000 people is insane.
Yeah.
I thought 4,000 people was insane last year. Anyway, Neil Oliver, like we were saying, won the first Grand Prix Las Vegas, or the most recent Grand Prix Las Vegas, the biggest Magic tournament of all time. And he wants to win this tournament too. He's got the right deck for it. This Bant Megamorph deck, he's been having success with it. His teammate, Ben White, is having success with it. Interestingly though, Craig Wesco, who had played very similar deck at the Pro Tour, Audible, and is on Collective Company.
And that's working out pretty well for him too, though.
Yeah, I haven't heard a result from the back table. I'll be curious to know if Craig won. Wow, Warden of the first tree for Dylan Donegan. He's clinging down to 3 life.
But it looks like he's doing some interesting work here with Warden. So on the end step, he activated the Warden to make it into a 3/3. Then he used Absent Charm to put a couple +1/+1 counters on it. Now he
Sure.
can give it Lifelink and Trample.
Wow.
And then, you know, he's going back up to 8, knocking Neil down
Yeah,
to
that
10.
is.
And then on the following turn, he threatens to just go bigger than Neil could ever hope to.
Looks. I think I saw a Wingmate Rock in his hand too. Yeah. So Dylan Donegan, this is game 3. He's at 3, but Lifelinking Warden will outrace Monstrous Fleecemane if Neil Oliver doesn't have a removal spell. I feel like it's still an open question whether Neil has an instant speed removal spell to deal with this, though. I mean, if he does, it doesn't seem like he should let Dylan attack, because Wingmate Rock is a card that exists and sometimes it's in people's lists. Especially like the Absent aggros that are winning seem like they're the ones that have those couple of Wingmate Rocks in them this weekend. All right. Dylan goes for pre-combat Wingmate Rock, which gets Disdainful Stroked. Oh, wow. He wanted to find out whether Wingmate is going to resolve or not. And now that it's not going to resolve, he's not interested in attacking with his Warden. Yeah, he couldn't both spend the mana to give the Warden lifelink and also try to put Wingmate Rock into play. So elected for the Wingmate Rock, but ran it into Disdainful Stroke. 5/5 Warden, of course, holds off the 4/4 Monstrous Fleecemane, but Dragon Lord Ojutai threatens to attack for the win in the air next turn. And even gaining 5 life would not be good enough for Dylan Donegan.
Neil Oliver playing the powerful interaction we talked about a couple times this weekend of Dragon Lord Ojutai and a Johnny Steadfast.
Sure.
Johnny Steadfast in his main deck for Neil Oliver.
Vigilance is a powerful ability, especially when your Dragon Lord Ojutai gets to keep hexproof all the time.
Yeah, First Strike also a powerful ability when your opponents are playing Deathmist Raptors.
Alright, Dylan's got to figure out what to do here. I think he's got a Wingmate Rock in his hand, so if he attacks, but he still can't go to Lifelink and Wingmate, right? Doesn't have the mana for Lifelink plus Wingmate?
No, Lifelink costs 4.
Right.
So,
yeah, forced to choose. If he goes for Lifelink, then he'll have 3 mana left to do whatever he's going to do to Dragon Lord Ojutai. Alright, here's the attack. Now you just block with Monstrous Fleecemane, right?
I believe so. I mean, that block seems pretty free.
Pretty free. Dylan wants to gain his 5 life. Feels like that's better. Oh, we're in extra turns, aren't we? That's what that die is.
Oh, I think that die is the level.
Sorry, that's the level of the Warden.
Yeah.
I knew that a minute ago and I lost track of it.
Yeah, the Warden First Tree, especially when it starts getting +1 counters, can be a little confusing.
To keep track of, yeah.
Especially when you're using dice. I like to rip a piece of paper and write on it what stage he is at.
Standard 38. Please head over to the side of the gathering area. Standard 38.
Yeah, turn him sideways, show me. Well, it was Abzan Charm. Your Dragon Lord's no longer hexproof. I'm going to exile it. I am going to take 4 from Fleecemane Lions, says Dylan Donegan. But I'm still alive.
Yeah, and things are looking pretty
Take 4
good for Dylan Donegan.
Takes 2 from his Abzan Charm because it was a Case of Koilos and a Mana Confluence. Takes 4 from the Fleecemane, but now he's at 2 and...
Suddenly he can drop 5 +1 counters
yes,
onto this
he can.
Warden.
Yeah, lines up 6 mana.
Yeah, and that's going to pop him back up to 12 and drop Neil to 3.
Attack with the Warden? Yes? No? Maybe?
And no pump, huh?
Not going to commit the mana to that because he'd rather commit it to... I believe he had a second copy of Wingmate Rock in his hand.
Trying to be a little more safe.
Yes, Wingmate Rock. I think I like this line. That does seem safer.
And this round is completed. We will post standings after
Yeah, Hexproof Fleecemane just getting outclassed. Dylan Donegan, the Abzan, this round has been the revenge of the Abzan aggro decks.
I think Warden of the First Tree in particular is pretty good against the Bant Megamorph decks. They don't have any spot removal. And so if you're able to find the time to just start dumping mana into that, and you get this giant trampling lifelinker, and that can really erase anything they're trying to do. Like, sure, they can grind you out, but Warden seems like a pretty good card against them. I mean, Neil only has 2 copies of Valor Stance as answers to it.
Fleece Mane attacks. I mean, I guess it doesn't do a whole lot on defense. Well, it blocks Warden on defense. Oh, right. Dylan has to jump block because he's at 3.
Ooh, all right.
Morph.
I believe it's a Den Protector, though Neil also has Death Mist Raptors and a singleton copy of Stratus Dancer in his deck. All right, and are we going to see the Warden get big?
Seems like it, right?
Yeah, assuming Dilton didn't, top deck.
Neil has no
absolutely
removal.
Amazing.
Can't really see his graveyard. See what he can get back with his Den Protector.
I think you can really just get back like a Disdainful Stroke, and you don't really want to play something into that anyway.
Does he have Valorous Stance?
Do not think he does.
All right, here is fetch land for a Plains.
All right, let's see what Neil's got up his sleeve here. Can't see the entirety of his graveyard. Is that top card a Dromoka's Command?
Just gonna see that or Fleece Mane. All right, here is Den Protector. Den Protector returns Valorous Stance. Valorous Stance kills Warden of the First Tree. So Wingmate Rock gets through, but the life-linking Warden is gone, so we'll make a new one. There's 3/3 base, and does have the mana to give it lifelink.
So here he can at very least trade. I'm actually somewhat surprised with the Wingmate Rock attack the turn previous, right?
I mean, it adds up to a lethal attack by making it.
But then he's on the swing back, then he has to chump with Warden, right?
I think he was planning to gain life with the previous Warden. I guess he could have seen the Valorous Stance, yeah. I mean, Neil, all of a sudden, that Den Protector was gigantic. Den Protector for Valorous Stance to remove Warden of the First Tree.
Den Protector has been incredible all weekend.
It really has.
I think it really is the breakout card of this weekend for Standard.
Again, draft 63.
And now because he attacked with that Wingmate Rock, he's going to have to chump here with Warden.
Super Sunday Series.
I guess he would have
Warden can't Warden trade with Den Protector?
It's time for round. The Super Sunday
Our life totals haven't moved in a while. I'm not convinced that our life totals are actually updating. Yeah, I thought I lost track of what was going on with the life totals.
Yeah.
Wow, Siege Rhino. Siege Rhino for the win. Dylan Donegan, the Obzon aggro deck, Warden of the First Tree, softened Neil Oliver up. Apologies for our life totals not updating at any points during that match, but Dylan Donegan softened him up, got him down to Siege Rhino range, gained enough life with the life link that he was able to take a couple of hits, and kablam, Siege Rhino for the win. So Neil Oliver will not be